The United States is not ready to give Ukraine security guarantees until a peace agreement is signed. Meanwhile, Russia talks about peace while continuing to kill Ukrainian civilians. My name is Albina Pidhirnyak. More important and up-to-date news is coming up next. In Zaporizhia, rescuers showed how they evacuate people from dangerous areas. People have to live with just a few things, leaving their homes behind to stay alive. You can also see anti-drone nets over the roads where the cars are driving.
Two cars. God.
Take out the car. Wait for us. We are here.
Small in advance. Went. Quiet, quiet, don't hit it. Now let's go in a fashionable car.
Why did you decide to leave?
The evacuation is forced.
Children, let's go in. One in our arms and we went. We all climb.
Scary. Well, we are used to just the way they say. You hear the situation, you constantly listen, you listen to where the arrival is, what the arrival is, far, not far. It's hard.
Do you already know where you will live in Zaporizhia?
No, they haven't said for sure yet.
Or will you go further?
Well, while in Zaporizhia, then it will be seen where.
2 large families were evacuated from the zone of active hostilities. 1 family has children in care, 3 minors, and the other family has 6 minor children. Community officers of the State Emergency Service, the Juvenile Prevention Sector of the Zaporizhia District Administration and community police officers, we jointly carried out this evacuation.
Evacuation was complicated by the passage of the line of combat and the saturation of the airspace with FPV drones.
Even though the US sent the US Secretary of Army Driscoll, who is not very pro-Ukrainian, to the talks, Russia says it will speak only with Wittkov. After the US started talking about possibly removing Wittkov, Peskov said that if Wittkov is not the negotiator, then there will be no negotiations at all. Just imagine the so-called Kremlin loyalty to Wittkov.
In the United States, even members of the Republican Party have already begun to make statements demanding Witkov's dismissal after these transcripts of telephone conversations. Why do you think all this was done? In general, all these publications, and what can it lead to?
Well, look, first of all, there's nothing terrible about it. And I guess the voices that are coming out now to fire Wittkov are aimed primarily at thwarting those modest tendencies to exit, to settle through peaceful negotiations. There is a process going on, a serious process. Putin has just said that he will inform Lukashenko about how things are on this track. Now, probably, there is nothing more important than this. Of course, there will be many people who will not shun anything to disrupt this process. Yeah, but if you watch and read, if you abstract from whether this is true or not, from the question, then there is nothing so terrible there. That's absolutely, and so is President Trump, by the way. He spoke so indirectly in defense of Wittkov. This is the usual work of a negotiator with the parties to the negotiation process. Therefore, I would not exaggerate, let's say, the destructive significance of these leaks.
The Bloomberg edition seems to have always been quite respectable.
Listen, now the word respectability in relation to the Western media should probably no longer be used, because no one shuns anything and no one feels professional shame from now on.
Wittkov will come to Moscow next week, Yuri Viktorovich Ushakov said today.
Yes, we expect such a visit and we expect contacts, detailed contacts with the president.
And now the Western media are actively reporting that Orban is allegedly coming to us.
As soon as these contacts are ready, we will also inform you.
Thank you.
Lukashenko gave an interview to propagandist Zarubin. He was very actively talking about how close the sides supposedly came to peace. But he said that everything can change at any moment.
I believe more than ever. But we discussed this issue again yesterday. You can't be calm here, you know, revel in this process. This is war. And at any moment, even while we are talking, maybe, some unforeseen situation that can reverse, in general, the situation is reversed. Therefore, war is war. This is a very critical moment in the life of any society and country. Therefore, you can't relax, you need to constantly be on both sides, be in the know. But these proposals, which have been recognized and accepted, have been largely accepted by both President Putin and the President. Trump proposed them, his team. And I think that both the Europeans and the Ukrainians will understand that they need to go for it. Well, why should the Europeans drag themselves? The offer is 600,000 army, the Europeans want 800. God be with you, 600,000 must be maintained by the army. The Poles today have a stronger economic country, 200,000. Well, they want more there. 200. 800,000, you can imagine, in Russia, almost such an army, huge Russia. Well, that's it, they cling to anything. So, the point is not in the content, of this draft peace treaty from the point of view of the Europeans. The fact is that they do not want this world. Only I don't understand why they need war. They do not win it. Well, they say that the British do not play a very decent role there and have taken a position. I think they will become wiser.
Lukashenko has started pushing the idea that Zelensky supposedly doesn't want peace and that if Zelensky had agreed to some conditions at the beginning, Ukraine would have supposedly returned to its 1991 borders. This shows that Putin's situation must be very difficult if even Lukashenko is coming out with such messages.
I criticize Volodymyr Zelensky, I will not criticize him. Once, at the beginning of the war, I advised him what to do. If he had done so then, there would have been no questions at all. 28 or whatever questions there are. The situation was completely different. And if Ukraine had fulfilled the Minsk agreements, there would have been no war, and Ukraine would have been within the borders, as they want, for 91 years. But if Volodymyr Zelensky wants to look at the realities, I will now once again, having turned out to be right then, I want to give him some advice. He may know the situation better than me. I just want to say what I see. If you want Ukraine to remain within the borders in which it is today, taking into account the realities at the front, you need to negotiate. There is no need to torpedo the negotiation process. If you cannot agree on something somewhere, and I did not see from this proposal that it is impossible to agree on something on some issues. But if suddenly there is some kind of demilitarized zone, a peace and so on in the Donbass, well, leave it for later. Well, leave it for later, but stop the war, where not your children die, where other people's children die. This is the main problem of the same Zelensky. Other people are dying. This must be borne in mind. And most importantly, you will lose the country. Well, if it's true what they say there, somewhere ranch, somewhere else they bought something. Of course, you will find a place to live, your life, your children, Lena there, your wife and so on. You will find it even for your parents. And what will Ukrainians, millions of people, do? So think, based on the real situation, how to keep what you have. And you have everything. And access to the sea, and Odessa is yours, and Nikolaev. And this may not happen in an instant, Therefore, it is necessary to weigh everything and make an informed decision. And Trump is right here when he squeezes one side and the other. But if, to put it bluntly, it was possible to negotiate with Russia by pressing it, then it is impossible with Ukraine. And here the European Union plays a negative role. We must stop this war. In this war, I am afraid that there will be no winner. This is a disaster. Do you know why it won't happen if suddenly? Well, if there is a winner, it will not be the European Union, if America, the United States of America, refuses them. Well, I can say it impromptu. Well, we will think about these questions later. There is a lot of work ahead, hard work. There's a lot of stuff there. And there's a Zaporozhye station, and the gold and foreign exchange reserves of Russia. There, everything is taken into account, not without the interest to the United States of America. Here is Trump's touch as an economist there. Thank you.
Russian chess player and opposition politician Garry Kasparov spoke at the Halifax International Security Forum and criticized the US position on Ukraine. These are words the whole world needs to hear to finally wake up.
This is the best, show Putin can hope for. Not a single straight answer. It's not about how many weapons you have, ammunition. It's, are you willing to fight and die? Oh, it's nice. You have a Canadian-led brigade in Latvia. What's the order for this brigade? Will they shoot if Russians cross the border? We know the answer. It will take ages to negotiate. I still didn't hear a clear response to, it's not, I can't even imagine this. How can we discuss seriously the deal made by Trump's business partner? It's a real estate deal to enrich Trump's family and sell Ukraine. And how can we seriously discuss that Ukraine will have to give up fortifications that are saving Europe? We're celebrating NATO. NATO is not strong. NATO doesn't exist. It's a fake. It's NATO, 4 letters. The reason you are still sitting here and celebrating it, Ukraine is dying every minute. It's a massive sacrifice. If not for Ukraine standing in front of Russia, Russian tanks would be already in Poland. You all suggested that Ukraine would give up. You offered Zelensky a right. And he said, I don't need right ammunition. 4 years Ukraine is fighting for the whole Europe. NATO was built to fight only one war, not to go to Afghanistan, not to go to Syria, one war to save free Europe from Russian aggression. Ukraine is the only country that is fighting this war, and we're still discussing, should we include them or not? Ukraine is the only country that is fulfilling NATO's destiny. And we owe them everything. Oh, let's sacrifice them. And Zelensky is making, I don't know even how to explain this choice. As a Russian, I also feel guilty. That's why I cannot tell him, show Trump middle finger. But again, we have how many senators we have here? Are you going to tell Donald Trump that he cannot do that? You have 85 is more than 2/3, yes? If I'm out of 100.
Senator?
So, yes, how come that, this bill is still sitting somewhere on the floor of the Senate, and it's not still being done? Putin, Xi Jinping, all others, they are celebrating it. And by the way, Russia has North Korean, they have Cubans, they have Africans, volunteers. So, and we're still talking about escalation? We have everything, military, political, economic powers on our side, and we're still losing the war. It's thanks to Ukraine, Russia is not fulfilling Putin's dream of restoring a Russian empire. But if, God forbid, Ukraine is forced to make this deal, then very clear, Putin will realize his dream. And then, guys, you're next. But you are not willing to fight.
Thank you for watching this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Support Ukraine. See you next time.